Lesson 64, using a unit multiplier to convert a rate. Let's review what a unit multiplier is. A unit multiplier is a ratio that has two different units of measurement. The numerator has one unit of measurement, and the bottom or the denominator, has another unit of measurement. And you use unit multipliers to convert from one unit of measurement to another. So in this example on the slide, you can see that they're converting miles per hour to miles per minute. And so they do not want hours in their answer. So in order to eliminate hour, the label hour, and put in the label minutes, you use a unit multiplier. And here the unit multiplier is 1 hour over 60 minutes. And the reason why they're using 1 hour over 60 minutes instead of 60 minutes over an hour is because you need to eliminate or cancel out the hour label. And in order for you to cancel them both out, they have to be opposite, which means one has to be in the numerator, the other one has to be in the denominator, because they divide each other out, or they just equal 1. And once you do that, you can multiply straight across. So 60 miles times 1 gives you 60 miles. 1 times 60 minutes gives you 60 minutes. And then you can simplify 60 divided by 60 is 1. So the answer would be 1 mile per minute. So today we're going to be converting units of measurement by converting using unit multipliers. Let's take a look at an example here. Yasmin ran a mile in 6 minutes. Use a unit multiplier to find her average rate in miles per hour. So Yasmin has 6 minutes, ran a mile, so let's write that as 1 mile, 6 minutes. So it's using a unit multiplier to find her average rate in miles per hour. So I don't want minutes here, I want hours. So that means I got to get rid of the minutes. I know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. And so now from this point, I can solve, because I have my unit multiplier, 60 minutes in 1 hour. The minutes divide each other off, it just means 1. And now I can multiply straight across. 1 mile times 60 is 60 miles. 6 times 1 hour is 6 hours. And now I have 60 miles over 60 minutes, or 60 miles over 6 hours. So now I can do my division. 60 divided by 6 is 10. That's 10 miles per hour for 1 hour. So it'd be 10 miles per hour for this example. Now, in order to set up this first part here, all I'm doing is just taking this first part that they told me, 1 mile in 6 minutes. That's my ratio. So every time they're giving you a starting point, just write that exactly the way they have it. Whatever's first goes on the top, whatever's bottom goes on the bottom, or what is second goes on the bottom. So let's look at example 2. Driving at 60 miles per hour, a car travels about how many kilometers in 2 hours? And 1 mile is about 1.6 kilometers. So this is my starting point right here. So 60 miles per just means you're using the division sign, 1 hour. So there's my ratio. I need to use a unit multiplier here so that my answer is in kilometers in hours. So now we need to get rid of miles and have kilometers. So I'm just going to put my 1 mile on the bottom because it has to be opposites of this one right here. So that's where I start first. And then it says, this is my unit multiplier right here. 1 mile is about 1.6 kilometers. So I'm going to put 1.6 kilometers on top because that has to be on top in my answer right here. So now miles divide each other off, and I'm left with kilometers per hour, just like I want in my answer. So 60 times 1.6 would give us 96. So 96 kilometers, 1 times 1 is 1. So that would be 96 kilometers per hour. But now our problem says in 2 hours. So if this is in 1 hour, I need to make that into 2 hours. So I could actually multiply this by 2. So 96 times 2 would give us 192 kilometers. And this would be our answer. So make sure, if I didn't go back here to look at the problem right here that it says in 2 hours, I would have kept my answer at 96 kilometers per hour. But because they're asking you how many kilometers can they go in 2 hours, I just double the kilometers there. Next example, we'll use unit multipliers to solve these. So 3 miles per minute, 3 miles per minute. I need to go to miles per hour. So I need a unit multiplier, so then I can have miles per hour. So I don't want the minutes here, so I put minutes on top. I need hours on the bottom. I know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Now I can do the math. The minutes divide each other off. I'm left with 3 times 60, which is 180 miles. 1 times 1 is 1 hour. So it'd be 180 miles per hour. Next one, 880 yards in 2 minutes. I need that to be in feet per minute. I know that there are, so I have to have feet, yards on the bottom because they have to divide. I know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard, so that would be my unit multiplier. You do need to know your unit conversions. You need to know how many feet are in a yard or how many inches are in a foot and so on. So now my yards labels can cancel out or divide out, and I'm left with feet per minute. So I have 880 times 3 gives us 2,640 feet. 2 times 1 is 2, but it says we want to know feet per minute. So now I have feet, 2,640 feet in 2 minutes. To find out how many are in 1 minute, I just simplify it. So I have 2,640 divided by 2, which would be 1,320 feet per minute. When you set up these unit multipliers, it actually tells you what to do with your numbers, whether you're supposed to multiply it or divide it. Next example, we got 440 yards per minute, so 1 minute. I need to convert that to yards per second. Since I'm going from yards I need to go from minutes to seconds. So I know minutes needs to be on top, seconds needs to be on the bottom, just because I wrote right over here how my answer needs to look. I know that there are, in 1 minute, there are 60 seconds, so that's my unit multiplier. The minute labels divide each other off, and I'm left with yards per second. So now I have 440 times 1, which is 440. 1 times 60 is 60. Take 440 divided by 60. That gives me 7.3 repeating. So I'm going to write this as 7 1/3. Or you could do 7.3 repeating yards per second. And this last one here, we got 24 miles per gallon. Need to multiply it by unit multiplier, so my answer will be in miles per quart. So I need to use a unit multiplier that has gallons and quarts. I know that 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So now my gallon labels divide each other off, and I'm left with 24 times 1, which is 24. 1 times 4 is 4. So I have 24 miles per 4 quarts. 24 divided by 4 gives us 6. So 6 miles per quart would be my answer. And one final slide. Peter packed 32 pints of pickles in a minute. Find Peter's pickle packing rate in ounces per minute. So 32 pints per, or so you got 32 pints of pickles in a minute. So 1 minute. I needed to be in ounces per minute. So I know that there are 2 cups. 2 cups equals 1 pint. And I know that 1 cup equals 8 ounces. So if 1 cup is 8 ounces, 2 cups would be 16 ounces. So 2 cups equals 16 ounces. That means I can put this in for 16 ounces in for 2 cups. So 16 ounces equals 1 pint. This is the unit multiplier I'm going to be using. So I got to go from pints to ounces. So pints is on the bottom. So 1 pint, the same as 16 ounces. Pints divide each other off. I'm left with 32 times 16, which is 512 ounces. 1 times 1 is 1. So 512 ounces per minute. Next one, Shannon rode her bike 6 miles in 24 minutes. Find her average rate in miles per hour. So now I need to go from minutes to hours. So minutes needs to go on top, hours needs to go on the bottom. I know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So the minute labels divide each other off. I'm left with 6 times 60, which is 360 miles. 24 times 1 is 24. Now I do my division. So 360 divided by 24 gives us 15 miles per hour. So that's how fast Shannon would ride her bike. Find Shannon's riding rate in kilometers per hour. So now if we did 6 miles in 24, actually we're going to start with, to make it a little bit easier, let's start with what we what her rate is right now. So 15 miles in 1 hour. I need to convert that to kilometers per hour. And we had in a previous slide that 1 mile is the same as 1.6 kilometers. That's the unit multiplier I'm going to use. The miles labeled divide each other off. I'm left with 15 times 1.6, which is 24. 1 times 1 is 1, so 24 kilometers per hour. And then find the number of kilometers she could ride in 3 minutes at that rate. So if she goes 24 kilometers in 1 hour, how much could she ride in 30 minutes? So I need to convert that in 30 minutes. So dividing that by 2. So I need to use a unit, so 30 minutes is half an hour. So I'm going to multiply this by half. And this would give us 12 kilometers. So this one I took a little bit different route. Since it's 24 kilometers in 1 hour, 30 minutes is half an hour, so half of 24 would be your 12. So that is our lesson today on using unit multipliers to convert a rate.